What's going on, Lakers fans? It's time to break down one of the most talked about situations in Los Angeles right now, Dalton Connect, and the crazy uncertainty around his future with the Lakers. You can feel it, right? There's this weird tension between the promise he's shown and the feeling that the organization might be getting ready to move on from him. It's a tough spot to be in, especially for a young player trying to find his place in a team loaded with veterans and stars. But let's get into what's really happening here, because it's not just about stats or highlights. It's about fit, opportunity, and trust. When you look at Dalton Connect, you see a guy who can flat out score the basketball. The talent is real. He's proven that he can catch fire at any moment, hitting those deep threes and creating shots out of nothing. But as crazy as it sounds, that might not be enough to save his spot in purple and gold. Because the truth is, this Lakers roster isn't exactly short on offensive weapons. Between LeBron, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and even Luka, there's only so much space on the floor and only one basketball to share. So if you're not making a major impact defensively, you start to become the odd man out. Now, to be fair, Connect has been showing flashes of improvement lately, especially in that game against Golden State. He wasn't just jacking up threes. He looked more focused on the defensive end, moving his feet, fighting through screens, and trying to stay in front of his man. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. And that's exactly what fans have been begging to see. Because up until that point, the biggest knock against him was that he was a defensive liability. Opposing teams were literally hunting him on switches, and it showed. You could see it in preseason when guards like David Jones-Garcia were getting whatever they wanted whenever Connect was the primary defender. That's the kind of thing that can kill your minutes in a hurry. But that's also why that Warriors game stood out so much. It wasn't just that he dropped 16 points. It was how he carried himself on both ends. He looked engaged, he looked confident, and for once, he looked like he belonged. And for a second-year player trying to establish himself, that's huge. The challenge now is whether he can sustain that energy consistently, because that's what separates a rotation player from someone who ends up being trade bait. And speaking of trades, let's be honest, the noise isn't going away. The Lakers have made it pretty clear they're open to making moves if it means improving the roster around LeBron and AD while they still have that championship window open. And unfortunately, Connect is exactly the kind of young piece that gets included in those deals. He's talented enough to draw interest from other teams, but not yet crucial enough to the Lakers' immediate plans to be untouchable. So every time he plays well, you almost get the sense that he's boosting his value for someone else instead of solidifying his spot in Los Angeles. That's what makes his situation so tough. He doesn't have the power or the leverage to demand anything. He can't say, "Trade me if you're not going to use me," because he's still too early in his career. All he can do is show up, play hard, and hope that either he impresses the Lakers enough to stay or impresses someone else enough to give him a fresh start. That's a brutal mindset to play under, especially for a young guy trying to develop confidence and rhythm. The irony is that the Lakers actually need someone like him, a reliable 3-and-D wing who can stretch the floor and bring energy off the bench. But the problem is, so far, he's been more of a 3-and-nothing player. He can hit shots when he's hot, but when the jumper isn't falling, he doesn't give you enough elsewhere to justify big minutes. That's what J.J. Redick has been hinting at in his comments. He said flat out that Connect's playing time is going to depend entirely on his defense. The Lakers already know he can score. That's not in question. What they need to know is whether he can stay on the court when the offense isn't flowing. And you can tell that Redick is trying to test him right now. With LeBron likely to miss several games early in the season, this is Connect's best window to prove himself. There are minutes available. There's a role to grab. But the margin for error is slim. If he gets torched on defense or starts drifting through possessions, that window will close fast. Redick doesn't have the patience to watch a player give up 20 points on one end just to hit a couple of threes on the other. Still, there's a sense of hope here. When you look at his size, length, and athleticism, there's no reason he can't become a decent defender. He just has to commit to it. Sometimes with young offensive players, it's not about ability, it's about focus. They've spent their whole lives being the go-to scorer, so defense has always been secondary. But in the NBA, if you want to stay on the court, especially on a team with championship expectations, you have to defend. It doesn't matter how many points you can drop if the guy you're guarding is scoring just as many. And for Connect, it's all about finding that balance. Nobody expects him to be Jared Vanderbilt or Marcus Smart out there locking people up. But he has to be solid, stay in front, contest shots, communicate, and rotate properly. The Lakers don't need him to be elite. They just need him to not be a target. Because when he's even average defensively, his offensive game shines through more naturally. He spaces the floor, opens up lanes for the stars, and forces defenders to make tough choices. That's the version of Dalton Connect that could really help the Lakers long-term. The question is whether the front office will have the patience to wait for that version to fully develop. History says they might not. The Lakers are a win-now team, and that often means sacrificing young talent for proven contributors. We've seen it before with players who left and then blossomed elsewhere. So it wouldn't be shocking if Connect ends up being the next name on that list. But you can't help rooting for the kid. You can see the effort, you can see the potential, and you can see flashes of what he could become if everything clicks. And that's why this stretch of the season might be the most important of his career so far. With LeBron out, with rotation spots up for grabs, this is the moment where he can show the coaching staff he deserves to be part of the plan moving forward. It's not just about how many points he scores, it's about how he carries himself when things get tough, when he misses shots, when he gets switched on a quicker guards, when he has to make split-second decisions defensively. That's where growth happens. Every young player hits that crossroads where the league stops being about potential and starts being about production. Dalton Connect is standing right there. He's got the tools, he's got the opportunity, and now he's got to show he can handle the responsibility that comes with wearing that Lakers jersey. Because in Los Angeles, you're not just playing basketball, you're playing under the brightest lights in the sport. One night can make you a hero, and one bad stretch can have everyone talking about trades. That's just the reality of it. So as the season unfolds, all eyes are going to be on how he responds. Does he embrace the challenge and carve out his spot, or does he end up being the next promising player shipped out before he gets a real chance to shine? Either way, it's going to be fascinating to watch. Because for Dalton Connect, this isn't just about surviving in the NBA, it's about proving that he belongs in Los Angeles. And in a city that demands greatness, that's no small task. Now, here's the thing that really makes this whole Dalton Connect situation so intriguing. It's not just about his talent, it's about timing. Timing in the NBA is everything. You could be the most skilled guy in a room, but if your moment doesn't line up with your team's needs or direction, you end up getting moved before you even get the chance to prove yourself. And right now, that's the danger Connect is facing. The Lakers are balancing two timelines. The immediate goal of winning another championship while LeBron James is still around, and the long-term development of young players who could lead the franchise into the next era. It's almost impossible to fully commit to both, and usually it's the younger players who get sacrificed in the process. The truth is, Dalton Connect's name has been floating around in trade rumors since the moment he arrived. Not because he's done anything wrong, but because that's just how the business works. He's young, affordable, and has enough upside to get other teams interested. That makes him an ideal trade chip. And when you look at the Lakers' front office under Rob Pelinka, they've never been shy about making bold moves when they think it can push the team closer to a title. That's why you keep hearing people say things like, if Connect starts playing well, the Lakers will trade him. It sounds harsh, but in a strange way, it's a compliment. His improvement could be exactly what makes him valuable to other teams. But let's step back from the trade talk for a second. Because from a basketball standpoint, there's a lot to like about what he brings when he's in rhythm. His off-ball movement is underrated. He's constantly looking for open space, making those little cuts that open up passing lanes for guys like Luka or Reeves. His shooting mechanics are clean and quick, the kind of release the defenders can't really contest when he's set. And when he's confident, that ball barely touches the rim. That kind of shooting gravity changes the way defenses play, even when he's not scoring. Teams stick to him because they know one open look can shift the momentum of a game. And that's the paradox of Dalton Connect. He's valuable because of what he could be, not just what he is right now. That's the same reason Lakers fans are split. Half the fan base wants to see him stay and develop, because there's something exciting about watching a young player grow into his potential in a Lakers jersey. The other half looks at the team's window and says, "We can't wait. If he helps us land another star, then do it." It's a tug-of-war between patience and pressure, and both sides make sense. Now, when you hear J.J. Redick talk about him, you can tell the coaching staff sees the potential too. Redick's been honest about it. Connect has been one of their best offensive players during practices and scrimmages. He's efficient, smart, and plays within the system. But even Redick admits that the key to unlocking more minutes for him is defense. The Lakers track every possession in practice. Who's getting stops, who's communicating, who's making rotations. It's all data-driven, and the feedback is clear. When Connect locks in, the team plays better. When he doesn't, everything falls apart on that end. That's why this next stretch of the season might define how the Lakers view him long-term. With LeBron sidelined and Rue dealing with injuries, the rotation is open. These games aren't just about winning, they're auditions. Redick is going to experiment with lineups, test chemistry, and see who steps up when the spotlight gets brighter. If Connect can hold his own defensively while continuing to space the floor, he might finally earn consistent trust. But if he slips back into old habits, if he starts missing rotations or getting lost on switches, it could be the beginning of the end for him in LA. And that's where you start to feel for the guy, because everyone knows he's putting in the work. You can see it in his body language. He's locked in, he's engaged, he's trying to get better every game. But sometimes in this league, effort doesn't equal opportunity. It's about results. And on a team like the Lakers, those results need to come fast. Fans don't wait. The organization doesn't wait. You either produce or you get replaced. It's that simple. Still, there's this lingering hope that maybe, just maybe, this story turns out differently. Because when you see how the Lakers crowd reacts when Connect starts hitting shots, you realize they want him to succeed. There's something about watching a young player fight through adversity and prove the doubters wrong that energizes the whole building. Staples Center loves a redemption arc. And if he can string together a few strong games, playing with confidence, making hustle plays, and showing that he's learning on the defensive end, that could change the narrative completely. You have to remember, he's only in his second year. Most players don't figure everything out that quickly. Even some of the league's best shooters took a few seasons before they really understood how to defend at an NBA level. Defense is as much about experience and anticipation as it is about physical ability. Connect has the tools, good size, solid wingspan, quick feet. It's just about putting it all together consistently. And that's what the Lakers are waiting to see. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, whispers are turning into roars in the NBA world as rumors circulate that Kevin Durant, one of the game's most prolific scorers, may be heading to the Los Angeles Lakers. Sources close to the matter suggest that talks have intensified behind the scenes, fueling speculation that the Lakers could be on the verge of landing a player whose presence would instantly reshape the league's balance of power. While nothing has been officially announced, insiders hint that the discussions are serious enough to warrant the attention of fans, analysts, and rival franchises alike. Durant, a perennial all-star and two-time NBA champion, has long been a subject of trade speculation, with his combination of size, shooting, and versatility making him a coveted asset for any team seeking a championship push. The Lakers, whose roster has been a blend of veterans and rising talent, would instantly become one of the most formidable squads in the league with Durant in the fold. The potential pairing of Durant with LeBron James and Anthony Davis has fueled feverish debate online, as pundits and fans alike try to envision how the trio could dominate both ends of the floor. Sources hint that negotiations have been ongoing for weeks, with Durant reportedly intrigued by the Lakers' vision and the chance to chase another title in a city known for its glitz, glamour, and championship pedigree. The Lakers' front office is said to be weighing multiple scenarios to make the deal possible, though the exact mechanics remain unclear. Speculation abounds about which players or draft assets might be included in a potential trade, adding layers of intrigue to an already electrifying story. Social media has exploded with reactions, From ecstatic Lakers fans dreaming of a new super team, to skeptical analysts questioning chemistry, salary cap logistics, and the broader implications for the league. If Durant does join the Lakers, it would mark a seismic shift in the NBA landscape, reigniting the Western Conference and sparking countless debates about who could challenge such a stacked lineup. As the rumor mill churns, one thing is certain. The NBA world is watching, waiting, and wondering if the Los Angeles Lakers are on the brink of landing one of the sport's brightest stars. Whether this becomes reality or remains a tantalizing what-if, the whispers of Kevin Durant in purple and gold have already captured the imagination of basketball fans everywhere. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.